Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Andrew Hartman again here with Decathlon. And before I get started, once again, I would like you guys to follow us on all social media platforms, whether that's YouTube at Decathlon, Twitter at Academic Decathlon, Facebook, the Academic Decathlon Central by Decathlon, um, and then also on Demodec Talk, where we are Stanley Tree and Nixon. Um, Not Nixon, Nixon. I believe that was his previous, or his Nixonitis, Nixonitis on the previous message board before it got blown up. And I'm Stanley Tree. So uh, today it's October, and so I'm going to give you guys our monthly update. This is a big month. This is the first month of competition. First month we can really see if what we're doing has been working. See where we are as a team. I'm super excited to see just exactly where we are. I feel confident that what we've been doing is good, but confidence doesn't really necessarily play out as well as you would like until you see the final product, right? You can be super confident and then go into a meet and just, you know, the unexpected happens, or like something you thought you were good at, you weren't good at, right? That kind of happened to us last year at state, where we thought we had prepped music enough where the kids would be really well rounded in music, and that was not the case. So let's go and get into what we've been doing the last month. So first off, I want to start with our schedule. Okay, we finished music and economics. We finished those in the last week. Music this week and econ the week before. And then we took a test on them, which we'll look at here in a second, the results of those. Um, Music just seems really hard, not only, but mostly because it's really long. That it seems that when I looked at the practice test booklet test that we took, the questions weren't necessarily incredibly hard. There were definitely some I looked at. I was like, okay, these are going to be the ones we're going to struggle with because they're very specific. But for the most part, it felt very, very simple. It just seemed like the test on the whole, like it's just there's so much in music that just it's hard for them to get everything together. Which hopefully some of our recall stuff is really useful to help them get that together, right? So um, so yeah, we took our tests. We're now working on art and SOSI. We've just gone a little bit through that, and that'll last us here um, for up until October 17th will be our last day of art and SOSI. So we get about a month, one, two, say 3 weeks worth of art and SOSI. A lot shorter than music and economics. Started with the big boys first. And then, as you can see here, actually, we took a break day once. We had a bunch of our juniors who had. Let me zoom in on this thing actually real quick. Um, we had a lot of our juniors and seniors, um, or juniors especially, who had a really rough day that day, and so they asked for a break. We had the ability to squeeze in a day off, and so we gave them one day off. So we're up to currently, we will be starting here, right? So sign art. We're still in our fundamentals. Our fundamentals is just, it's literally like almost half of the resource in terms of length, which is crazy. I'm curious to see how easy art is. I feel like with the length of art this year, it's not going to be super difficult, but you never really know. Hopefully they write some harder questions. That's just one thing I've taken away from last year is that they don't the questions they're writing are kind of a joke at this point. At least for our level, if you know it, those questions or a lot of those tests are super easy. I think it was science in particular last year that was just like, man, like this is way too easy. We didn't even need to focus on science because we could have lost like maybe 20 40 points a person on it, but then gained hundreds other places. But anyways, it's for another time. So yeah, we will finish arts here. We'll finish science, soci here. Usually, again, we do have a test that kind of shows that that's here. But since we have the Katie meet here, we decided we'd rather not waste. That's kind of the day we squeezed with our break day, um, right? So with the break day, what we did is we decided, okay, well, instead of having an art science test right before we go to the Katie Morton Ranch meet, why don't we just do the Katie Morton Ranch meet and then call that our test, right? Um, so It's going to screw up some stuff about our score sheet. Not screw up, but it's going to make it a little more complicated, but not really in the end, you know. But yeah, so and then once we're out of the Katie meet, we get science and literature, which we finished just after the Friendswood meet. And when I say just after, we're done with science. It's just all literature at that point, which I'm not worried about. We already did literature. Well, let me rephrase that. We did Rosencrantz and Guildenstern in the spring. That's kind of our like not tryout. We don't do tryouts in that sense, but we do like a hey, is this something you want to do kind of thing. And so we quiz. We have the seniors write questions for the book, whatever the book is, and then they quiz every day on it. You know, coming in after school, before school, or during lunch, which is much easier this year. And they quiz on it. So yeah. So at any rate, that will get us into Friendswood, and then we will be, before we know it, right, we'll be done with everything, and we'll be moving on into kind of our next set of stuff, which is, you know, I still haven't quite figured out what we're gonna approach. I have a good idea, and I think that idea is just reset the thing. Right here it says Pearland meet, set the team. Haven't heard any feedback on if the Pearland meet's happening. I hope it is. If not, maybe we can figure something out there. But yeah, so anyways, we're like, once we get into October, right, it's kind of like every month or every 3 weeks there's something very important happening that really helps solidify our idea of what our team's going to be. Does it determine who our team's going to be? Of course not, but it helps us like figure out where people are along their path of either making the team or not. So let me go and go into our scorebook here. Okay, and before I go through this, we finished up music and econ. Look at all these quizzes we took. So many. I think I counted it eventually. It was like 20. The counts is 25. We took 25 music quizzes. Econ was a little less with 22, maybe 20, right? 20. All right. So we took 25 days to do music and econ. Man, I know the kids are too. I'm glad to be out of it. We'll be coming back, obviously, but I'm glad to be out of it for sure. So we started into art and we started into soci. Not as strong as I'd like for some people, especially this guy right here. He bombed the first one because he's on the team last year. He's like, well, I know our fundamentals, and then it's like, well, turns out you didn't, buddy. And what we've started to do is we're doing recall quizzes each day. So usually it's 15 questions per day, but right now we're doing econ recall quizzes, and so that 25 right there is 10 extra questions from the Decathlon mini quizzes that kind of go into their total score for both, and we rotate between soci and art, so that'll balance it out between the two. That's the hope at any rate, right? So yeah, here our total score kind of looks over here. If you can kind of see, we do have our rankings again, and we have, first, our honors are doing really well right now. First, third, seventh, and eighth, and then our scholastic second, fourth, sixth, ninth, fifth, all there. Our top varsity is dragging only because art. We've only taken 2 quizzes and he sucked on one of them, but he's mostly doing well. And then our second varsity is also doing okay in 14th. Extrapolated scores out here. Which if we kind of put that all together, we put it at 36.7, which is it's good. It's not bad. I would like it to be higher, as you can see. Our expectation is 38. But no, they're doing really well. I'm super excited where they are, and the way we calculate scores at this point is if I go back into music, what we do is we take the average of their quizzes together. So that's the total. So this guy got 669 as average on his quizzes. And then we average, and then we take the test, and then we average those two together, right? So this is 50%, this is 50%. We come out with an average, and then that becomes their kind of total score on the total sheet. So that's makes the test important, which I think obviously is like the thing that matters, right? But it makes them both equally important, right? The prep and stuff. And so we have that. And then we also took a math diagnostic just to kind of see where they're at. It was the USAT easy. It was easy. Like really easy. We haven't even really done much math. The way we've been doing math is not the way I like it right now. So yeah, that kind of gives us a good idea of where some people are on math, where we need to improve, right? But most people were above 800, which is really nice to see. At least that they had some inkling of what the tests are going to ask. The good thing is like that for the most part they know the stuff that's going to be asked on the test, which is good for us. The new developments, or the other new development, I guess I should say, is our test scores. We took 2 practice tests, and we're able to kind of get an idea of where people were on those. Some surprises for sure. We had this kid right here, Johan, who like didn't do super great in class quizzing, but he told me throughout the year, he's like, this way, like it takes me a little while to learn these things, and so this daily quizzing is not really what I'm trying to do. He's kind of on his own schedule almost, which is interesting. I've never had anybody do that in such a like brazen way, and not in a negative way, but he was on our Decathlon team last year. He's very much involved in the program, and so he's kind of figured out his own path that he appreciates, and he crushed the music quiz. He did really well. The econ, we did excellently on econ. I think it's a combination of that quiz was easy, that test was easy, but also like we really worked hard on learning some fundamental aspects about econ. I showed this on another video, but if you didn't see that one, we got some 960s, we got a bunch of 920s. Even in our varsities, we have some few 900s as well, and then a lot of 880s, 860s, 840s as well. Our average, like if we take everybody as average, was a 805, which is pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And we had a student who's not in the class, so she just, we just got her caught up. So these 2 tests for her were a little rough. And so our team score on that was a 5480. If we take our top 2, if we take our top 2 combined with all the 2 tests. I should probably put the math here actually, and I'm thinking about it from over on the other section, but I'll do that in a minute. And then we took music a week later, which that music test, again, it didn't look hard, just kind of looking at it from a outside perspective, because I haven't read through all the music yet. I'm writing those outlines that I'm doing, and so I'm going through it at this point, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't think these are that hard, but I could be wrong. I just think the bulk of music just makes this really tough, per se. Not say we did poorly. Our team scores 5340 on it, but the class average was not nearly as high as econ, 740, which honestly on a given day I will take. And we have a lot of people nearing a decent score. A lot of 680s. Right, a lot of 680s, a lot of 700s, 660s, right, where it's just like you're close, but you need to push it a little more. But then hey, 920s, 900s, 900, 920, 900, and then our varsity's doing pretty well. 680, 620, 640, right? Not quite what I'm looking for, but it's just so bulky, right? It's hard for them to necessarily get completely solid on it yet, but I think it's more we reinforce that information through review and stuff, that'll go better. So if we kind of just take it at face value of top 2 from each category, we sit at 10, 820 after 2, which is pretty good. I'll take that most days. Or extrapolates out to 37, 520, which is a little higher than our in-class score, which this helps influence that. So in terms of it's 50% of the particular test subject, but we've added music math, art, and SOSI in. So the fact that that's pretty close, like I'm hoping we can actually see something like that, by the time we're done with all of this, right? Not necessarily right now, or at the first meet, because we won't have covered science and literature. But also I believe that science is probably the easiest subject, and literature is something we've covered a lot of already. So I don't, we won't do great on those. We won't medal on those a whole lot, but also they read it over the summer, so hopefully there's some recall from that as well, right? So anyways, yeah, just taking it at face value, it does look like, we would almost go chalk in terms of like who we're taking, right? We have an 1820 and an 1880 in the honors, followed by some 1740s, and then we have an 1840 in the scholastics, followed up by a 1780, 1760, 1720, 1700, 1660, 1680, right? We just have a lot of kids who are right around there. 1620. We just have a lot of kids within a shooting range of that last spot, so to speak, which right now would be the 1720, right? No, 1760. Sorry. So we have a lot of people within that range after two quizzes, after two tests, right? That's going to happen. It's not. And again, nothing's set in stone, but in terms of like if we were just to take the top three in each category right now, and then also you're talking about, they're really competing with that third honors, right? So like if you just kind of bundled all of our honors and scholastics together, it gets really close early on so far. It's just it's going to be tough to really pick between all these kids once we get down to it, unless things shake out differently. And then our varsity 1780, 1720, which are pretty good. They're in line with our almost in line with our top scholastics, and then we have a 1520 and then two 1480s, which I think those kids can do better, but also again those are not terrible. I know those kids can do better. Actually, let me rephrase that, and they know they can do better. These scores, the scores that we have from that third varsity are also very much like there's some inconsistencies there in terms of like studying each night for those kids. So I would like to see them not be so inconsistent with that. I think that'd be really nice. So anyways, it seems like our music and econ scores on these tests are pretty good. I'm cautiously optimistic. My big worry about this is brain drain, is the idea that we will lose a lot of this as we get closer to a meet. And so right now what they're doing is they're going through an econ packet that is 10 pages, and the pattern we've given them right now is to do one page front and back each night along with your reading, right? Which shouldn't take that long. It should probably take like 30 minutes, hopefully. And so for now, that's a decent pace, but I'm about to give them a music one that's going to be, I think, really large. The section 2 one is just going to be, oh man, section 2 of music is bulky. That is a bulky section. Right now, I think I'm on page like 94. I just finished Coltrane, Love Supreme, and like I think that's maybe halfway through it. Like that's a 60-page resource or section or some crazy number. It's nuts how big it is. Maybe 50 pages. I think it starts in the 70s. So I don't think I'm going to give them all of that at once. I think I'm just going to give them a chunk of that. I think 10 days is reasonable. My worry is that it's not fast enough. But also I want them to be certain. Like I want them to actually be doing it. And I'm worried that giving them any more than that each night with what we're already giving them, and then the class, the other stuff that they have in class is too much. So I don't know. We'll see. I think also we're gonna set up a blog that has all of those resources updated in as we go. I couldn't find the music fundamentals one when I first did that video, and so I'll put that in there as well. So I have a music fundamentals one. I have music section 2. And then econ sections 1 and 2, and most of a good chunk of 3, maybe not all of 3. I need to go back and look, but I'm working on music right now, music section 3, which is again just very large. It's a huge section. So I don't know when that one. I hope to have that one done by the end of the week. But we'll see. In terms of what we're doing in class for math, it's really been some soul searching with that in terms of like trying to figure out how we want to really approach math. We took the diagnostic. So what we did for a little bit is that we had them split into 2 rooms, right? Kids who already knew what they needed to do, and so they could go just progress, and then kids who weren't feeling good, and so we were doing like summation stuff, and like they just they couldn't figure it out because they didn't know. So then I gave them some stuff to help them read through it and learn it, but like that didn't help. And so what we kind of learned to do is like teach it at first, right? Teach the concept and then practice it as a group. So we've had the kids teaching each other how it works and stuff like that. I think that's going to be better, is like teach it first, reinforce it with questions, and stuff. And usually what I'm doing is just pulling questions out of PDFs. I just search for the thing. Like, for example, we just did standard deviation and variance because it's really simple to understand. But if they don't understand it, they have no idea what it's asking. And so we did that last Thursday, and then had them kind of do some questions on it. And now we're going to do some more exercises tomorrow, and then really start to kind of get through the statistics stuff. The statistics is actually really easy. It's going to be the algebra that's the tricky part. But for us personally, math is something we actually don't have to worry about as much as we are. Well, let me rephrase that. If we wanted math to be just like solid, like, we could and just leave it alone and never worry about it. But two reasons I don't want to do that. Number one, I forget how much. Like, we had a 5,500 on math at state last year. And I think the next closest team at large was 5,000, right? And so, like, that's just a huge lead for us right from the get-go. And, like, we need to do that again consistently. Like, just have a really big lead on math, because we have some kids who are just super sharp in math, and top from varsities on varsities, classic, and honors, all really good in math. So one thing that we need to do is to make sure that we keep that lead, and so we do need to practice math. The second thing is that we have kids on the team who are excellent at everything but math, and I don't want those kids to lose out on an opportunity to making the team simply because they aren't as proficient at math as the other kids. So we're really trying to bring everybody in, but at some point, right, there's going to be this idea that math matters. It's a tenth of the thing, and so if you're sitting at a 600 on that 10th, and your competitor is sitting at 800, and maybe you're better at the other tests but only by 100 points or so, it's gonna play on the score. And we're pretty solid on the idea of, like, taking a team based on score only. We've mostly done that. Last year we took some ideas of, like, it was so close, it just became like, okay, who is, like, chemistry wise, where are we going to be? And I think that they cost us, not because the kids we took are bad, but just because, like, the kids we didn't take could have been the extra 91 points we needed, or helped changed us in a different way, right? And so I think we kind of got in our own head on that one, but also at the same time, like, I still think we made some good decisions and made some tough decisions there. So anyways, math is important, and we need to make sure that we are good at math, and we need to make sure we give everybody the best opportunity to be good at math. And so, yeah, I think our plan right now is to teach a concept, drill the concept, kind of get through a bunch of stuff that way, and then test on it before we go into Friendswood, hopefully, or at least maybe just test it at Friendswood, probably, or excuse me, not Friendswood, Morton Ranch. That test tends to be simple, so it's a good way for us to do that, right? And so I know I said we used the easy one earlier. We didn't use the easy competition test. We used the leveled test, leveled 1 easy test that they give us that we can use. So because I don't think we have access to the competition tests. So yeah, that's about it for today. I just wanted to get you the October update. Once we get to the Morton Ranch video or Morton Ranch competition, hopefully I can get scores out of there quicker. I can use that to talk about the importance of competitions, because competition is very important. It allows you to see where your weaknesses are, because just the test score is not going to show your weakness, right? Because tests are harder or easier, right? So what you really want to do is compare yourself to other teams. So hopefully I can make a video for that week about that. That's going to be, again, coming up in 3 weeks on the 20th. So that would be really nice to have. And if I don't, at the very least, I can show you some stuff from last year that we looked at. So yeah, that's where we're at. We'll update you guys how we did at the Morton Ranch meet. Once we get there. I'm super excited. I really hope we can win that meet. And hopefully, like, really come out of there feeling confident about what we're doing to help learn this stuff. So yeah, a lot of the stuff we've kind of been practicing and theorizing here are really going to be put into effect for the first time at that meet. So yeah, should be exciting. That's going to do it for today. Again, if you guys have any questions, comments, leave a comment in the YouTube section. We've definitely got some good comments there. Find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook. Again, all that stuff's linked, or all this stuff is in the video, and you can see that.